Hey guys, Mr. Arndt here, ready to do an introduction for our literary analysis. That's our big 5 paragraph paper we're getting ready to do for 8th grade literature. Get pumped. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys this document. I'm going to share it with you all. But right now, I just wanted to take a look at some important dates. This Thursday, you guys are going to share with me your thesis. That is simply a statement that's going to drive your paper. It's going to tell us what you're arguing. We'll get into that in just a second. This Saturday, April 4th, your topics for your body paragraphs are due, and we're going to outline those by the next Thursday. So Holy Thursday, we'll be doing that. We'll get more into that information later on. But we're going to do it this week. But what's due on Thursday is a thesis, something you are interested in that you will write about, okay? So let's take a look right here. An analysis paper requires a thesis, which is a sentence in your introduction that tells what your paper will be arguing, the controlling idea of your essay. This thesis should not be a statement of fact, but an idea that can be developed. Ideally, it should be expressed in one sentence. Okay, so I love coming up with an interesting thesis when I talk about good literature. Maybe I'm making an argument that the whole point in To Kill a Mockingbird is to teach people that racism is bad. Well, that's pretty obvious. I think that's an overly simplified version of it, but it's essentially something like that. Let's take a look down below. What we're going to do is choose a prompt to work with. We're going to answer that. We're going to look at our prompts in just a minute, and then a working thesis that answers that prompt. And then step 3 is what you guys are going to do later this week. Okay, here are some prompts. How does the author use symbols to convey a message? What are some symbols that we saw in the book? We saw the rabid dog, the camellia, the courthouse itself, and how that's structured and represents the old Alabama and the new Alabama. We talked about the Yule's yard, whereas it's physically by the dump. That sends a message right there, right? The Negroes' quarters, different elements like geographically send a message. Harper Lee, the author, used particular symbols to represent things, okay? So there are a lot of different opportunities there for symbolism, and some people have chosen to do that in the past. Okay, what's the theme of the novel? Now, we talked about themes until we're blue in the face. So we know Atticus tells us courage is not a man with a gun in his hand. Don't judge someone until you've walked in their shoes. Ignorance and racism lead to the destruction of innocence. All of those are pretty obvious themes in the novel. There's another one that I'm going to talk about in just a little while that I feel like everyone has ignored. And since everyone has ignored it, I'm going to use that as my sample literary analysis. Okay, what kind of character is? Fill in the blank. Okay, so here's a great opportunity to do Atticus or Boo Radley or Scout or Jem. Dill could even go in right there, I think. Maybe Bob Ewell. That'd be an interesting, kind of a backwards one, but something that would be interesting. What I've put at the bottom of this page, we're going to run right over this. This is your big layout for it, which your structure is going to be. But we've got here are a bunch of sample theses from last year's class. And I don't have it on my computer right now for 2 years before, but I don't think you want to take any of these and just copy them, kind of tweak them as your own. But you can see that a thesis a lot of times is pretty simplified, right? A lot of examples in here are somewhat similar. Some people talk about characters specifically, some talk about symbolism, some talk about themes. So it's a good blend. The one that I want to do at the bottom as a sample is Mr. Arndt's thesis. Some people would rather delude themselves than admit a painful truth. They want to lie to themselves about what reality is than admitting a painful truth. So what I'm going to do is craft a sample literary analysis for you guys as we do this so that you're seeing in kind of short blips from me what my literary analysis would be if this were my thesis. I really do enjoy doing this stuff, and so I don't mind writing another 5-paragraph paper because it's not that big a deal. All right, guys, I hope this helps, and look forward to seeing what you guys are going to come up with. Thanks.